You're listening to the Black Minds Matters podcast in association with WCEN. Hey, what's good? My name is Peaks. I hope you're all blessed. You are listening to the Black Minds Matters podcast, and I'm joined with
Mr. X. What's good? Hope everyone's all good.
Yep, I hope you are too, Mr. X.
Yep.
All right, so if you're joining us for the first time, welcome to this podcast show. You are listening to this podcast and hopefully you're tuning in because you want to raise your spirits. You want to have a diversity of young voices that are currently not being heard. And this is what this platform is aiming to do. We want to give these voices a platform on here. And if you're a student, if you're a creative arts person, if you're working, if you're unemployed, if you're a young parent into music, entrepreneurship, whatever it is, this is a platform for you to express what's going on in the world right now. UK's on lockdown during this pandemic time, and we want to share the stories from everybody from a variety of walks of life for young people. So on today's podcast, we are going to be joined by Okema. Okema is 27, lives in London, born in Jamaica. She was raised in Birmingham. She is aspiring to be a health psychologist, used to be a health practitioner, but now is a social prescriber. She's also a mentor in Blackmindsmatter. So welcome, Okema. Are you there?
Hi, yes, I'm here.
And how are you doing?
I'm good, thanks. You?
What's good?
Hi, yeah, I'm good, thanks. How are you guys?
I'm fine, thank you. We're fine, we're all good.
Yeah, it's been a bit of a busy day, but we're all good. All right, so I was just giving everybody a little brief introduction about who you are. Beautiful name, by the way.
Thank you.
Yeah, so if you could give us a little introduction about just a little bit of background about who you are and what you were doing before the lockdown kind of happened, and the fact that you're a health practitioner, a social prescriber and a mentor in Black Minds Matters.
Okay, so I'm Okema. I'm working as a social prescriber. I actually started this role since lockdown. Before lockdown, I had taken my own little well-being break, so I was working as a social prescriber, but in Surrey. I ended that employment in January-ish, was off for, I told myself I'd be off for 3 months. So I was off until around Easter. But in that time, I was just looking after myself, to be honest. So chilling, doing bits and pieces here and there, and going back to see my family in Birmingham as well. So I'm not actually from London.
Yeah.
Since lockdown, as I said, so I started the new job, which has been very strange. So meeting people in your team for the first time over a video call was interesting. What else have I been doing? To be honest, it's just that at the moment.
And you're also a mentor in Black Minds Matters. So how did that kind of come about?
That came about in my previous role. So I used to work as a wellbeing practitioner in Wandsworth. So that's as a part of an IAP service, so improving access to psychological therapies. And within that role, we did a lot of community outreach and just reaching out to different groups in the community. And as a part of that, we had a really good relationship with them. And as a result, they used to tell us about different events, different, like annual events that they'd have. And it's just that's how we got introduced to Black Minds Matter. Because the first time I saw you guys was the performance that you did at the Healing Our Broken Village in 2018.
Yeah,
2018. So from then I got involved, and then I went to the Young Persons annual AGM. And it's just from there, really. And then eventually I saw like the newsletter go out when I went to the forum, the Black Mental Health Forum that happens in Balham, I think it is.
Mm-hmm.
And Tanya actually asked me if I'd be interested. So I signed up, and I have a mentee. I only saw her once before lockdown. We met up and, just went through the basics and the introductions for the whole program. But since lockdown, it's been mainly WhatsApp. So I'm supposed to be scheduling a video call with her this week, actually.
A social prescriber. You've done quite a bit in and health work and stuff. So a social prescriber isn't something that I've kind of heard before, and maybe that's kind of a new concept to a lot of people. So what does that kind of involve, and what's the kind of training and thinking behind that?
Yes, it is actually a new role. The concept is mainly primary care. So we are based in like GP surgeries. So what our role really entails, so my full role is called social prescribing link worker, but it's a mouthful, so I just say social prescriber, which is also a mouthful. But it's working with people or patients to look after their long-term health conditions, and it's kind of empowering them to just take back control of their own health, because a lot of the patients that we would see outside of COVID are ones that they call like frequent flyers. So those ones that come to their GP surgery more than they need to, or they'd be coming to the GP for social issues that the GP can't necessarily help, because, doctors, they mainly just give you a prescription. But for the whole role of a social prescriber, for example, someone might come and they need help with they're struggling with their mental health because of their debt and their housing situation, and they also have, say diabetes, and they're not managing that very well. So I would help them to look at the more holistic side of their health and well-being, whereas the doctor is just, okay, so how can I help you manage your diabetes levels? Okay. That kind of thing. Does that explain it?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, do you work with BME people or certain age groups? How does somebody kind of get to find out more about the services that you offer?
Well, it's mainly 18 plus in my team, and we work with everyone, so different backgrounds, different nationalities. In terms of getting in touch with our service, it's just going to your GP, and for those that know about social prescribing, telling them that they'd like to be referred, and then we usually pick that up 24 hours after and get in contact with the person.
Okay, so you said that you kind of met your colleagues. This is kind of a new role for you, and you kind of got to meet them over Zoom calls and things like that, or Skype, was it? So how is the lockdown affected how you work and stuff? So in terms of with colleagues and in terms of people who need access to your services.
It's been a mix. I'd say the good aspects are there's no commute. So that was my main concern to begin with, because I'll be based in Southwark, so the Walworth area, and I live in southwest London. So, and not being from Birmingham, to me, a commute that's more than 20 minutes is against the law.
Yeah, welcome to London.
So it was taking me like 40 minutes or just under an hour to get to work. So that's a really good thing for me.
Yeah, I'm
not having to commute. Another good thing is I kind of have more time in my day. So if I can wake up and start working as early as I want, and then that allows me to finish, earlier on, and there's more time for me to do things like, cook dinner or do chores or watch Netflix, just depending on my mood. Meeting the team has been interesting. Personally, I don't think I like training online and meeting your team that way. I was saying to one of my friends the other day that it kind of feels like that in the classroom situation. So everyone's on the call, including your line manager, and then I'm quite a quiet person, so I'll sit back and observe to begin with. But because I'm quiet, she'll pick on me and ask me questions, thinking that I'm not paying attention. So I'm even thinking maybe I should start pretending that my camera froze or something, so she leaves me alone. But hey, aside from that, I'd say that's the only, main issue. In terms of dealing with patients, I don't really, I'm trying to find that stable ground, because it's calling them, checking in on them, doing those well-being checks, and during the COVID, the main role of the social prescriber is, can the person get their medication, especially if they're being shielded? So, those who can't come out for 12 weeks or so. Are they getting food? How's their mental health? But it's okay, we can get volunteers and services and, drop things off to them, but it's difficult in a sense where you have a client where that face-to-face consultation would be a lot better for them, or, being able to come out and see someone. It's hard in that way. So we're having to be a bit innovative and think of things that we can do. So I'd say it's mixed, starting a new role and working with patients in this climate.
Has things been changing over the weeks since the lockdown? Are you finding it that things are maybe staying the same, or maybe things are getting worse, or things are getting better? How has it been for you over the duration of the time?
In terms of my work?
Yeah, in terms of your work, and obviously you working with the community and stuff.
I think things seem to be improving, and they actually seem to be pulling in a lot more on social prescribers and link workers. Things are also improving in the sense that a lot more people are volunteering as well. So that there are new services popping up that we can tap into to get support out to people in the community, especially those who are being isolated. So yeah, I think they are improving.
Same.
And I think maybe it's the fact that it's been around for long enough, so people higher up in the organizations have figured out a way to make things work, as well as people doing the groundwork. We're pulling together and pooling ideas on what can we do to improve the situation and better help people.
Same. How important do you think the internet and social media has been for you? I mean, imagine doing what you're doing with all this happening, but no social media.
I think it's been really, really important. Like, a lot of what I'm doing wouldn't have been possible without the internet and social media. Because even some of the support that's available for the patients, I'm finding that on Facebook. Like, a lot of areas and towns or whatever have Facebook pages for volunteering support in their area. But I think if this had happened, 50, 60 years ago, it wouldn't be dealt with this well.
What's been the challenges? I know you kind of explained a little bit about obviously having to deal with your colleagues for the first time on Zoom and stuff. But apart from that, what other challenges have you faced since the beginning of lockdown?
Challenges would mainly probably be personal, because in terms of work-wise, I think my manager's done a good job in making sure that we're able to do everything remotely. So, as I said, the importance of the internet and social media and things like that. But I'd say personally, it's hard because obviously London isn't my home city. So not being able to go back and visit my mom and my sister, my family, or just go out and see people, that might be the hardest bit, I think.
Same.
But even though I'm here with my partner in London, I still have my family in Birmingham.
Could you tolerate another 3 weeks? What would be your thought on that?
You know what? It's mixed, because I'm like a homebody anyway. So I'd only go out if I'm going to meet up with friends in every couple of weeks, not couple of weeks, but every so often, or if I'm going back to see family. But I'm very stubborn, so I don't like being told that I have to stay home. So maybe I think that's where I'm struggling. So staying home isn't an issue, but I want to be able to go out when I feel like.
Yeah, of course.
So I really don't know how I'm going to deal with another 3 weeks. I'm trying to make it work, but it's just that, can I go out now? Can I go out freely? Or if I go back to Birmingham, am I going to get a fine? Those kind of questions.
Of course, yeah.
Same.
With the people that you're dealing with as well, in terms of their mental sanity as well, how are people still coping with this, being indoors, or if they have obviously other issues that's not related to this pandemic, but they have other health issues as well? So basically, how do you think their mental health will continue on if there is an extension of extra weeks added?
That's the thing. I'm actually quite concerned about that, because there are some patients that I speak to that have, mental health issues, and just speaking to them, that being able to come out and see other people, or, just come out to be proactive or productive, so you're distracting your mind.
Yeah.
That would really benefit them. And I think not having that, and also adding the fact that a lot of people are already struggling with the virus itself. Am I going to come out and am I going to catch it? So, what's going to happen if I stay in my house too long? So those factors combined, I think if the right, measures aren't in place, it's not going to be good for the community, especially those with mental health problems.
And so in terms of, are you actually dealing with people who who have actually had the virus as well? And if so, what's their kind of mental state when they've kind of like found out, or how are they kind of coping with that as well? What's some of the kind of coping strategies, and how are they kind of feeling?
Well, with my team so far, we haven't had any referrals from people that have had the virus. So I don't really know much about how they're coping, but just from, family and friends who talk about it and, they know someone that's had it, it's not being good. Like, the person that would have got it becomes quite fearful because now they're saying you can catch it again or there are different strands. So it's just all that uncertainty.
Okay.
Are you chilled? Is it stressing you out? Or, what do you find to kind of like just keep calm? Is it bashment music, or is it a bit of jazz, or what? What do you do to kind of like keep your sanity as well? Because obviously you're doing a good job helping other people. But what about you?
To be honest, it's like from one extreme to the other. So today I might wake up at 5 a.m. I'll meditate, I'll do yoga, I'll do my exercise and then read a book or something before starting work. Whereas tomorrow I'll get up like maybe 5 minutes before my meeting so I can just prepare myself for the video camera and then spend the rest of the day on Netflix. So I don't know how I'm coping.
But it's good. But you are coping though. That's good.
Yeah, I guess I am coping. I haven't hurt anyone. I haven't made any threats or anything. So I guess I'm okay.
Well, there's a good team behind you. You may need it. But going back to Blackmindsmatter, they're not. You said that you're working with a mentee, so if you can tell us a little bit about how that kind of process works and stuff, because I think you guys used to have meetings and stuff where you used to work at. You used to kind of connect with each other and you do workshops and different types of things. So you've been teamed up with somebody. So how does that kind of work, and what's your kind of roles together?
Well, how it all began, like there's a lot of structure and like plans made. So there were sessions that we had to attend and training and things like that. So it's all very set out and organized. But I think since COVID hit, it was just all a case of trying to figure out what can you do with the circumstances. So I think before, like the first initial meeting I had with my mentee, we went through a list of questions and had a really good discussion, which was quite productive. But since then, a lot of the things were cancelled. So, they said no mass gathering. So I haven't been able to go to any of the other sessions. I spoke to Tanya because she just called to check in and see how things were going. Mm-hmm. And it's really just a case of, making sure the mentee is okay, but also yourself. So it's, I guess, just more for social check now, because the first time since COVID, the first instance where I reached out to my mentee since COVID, she was telling me that, she's trying to keep on top of her college work and obviously manage home and everything else. And then after that, I would just send her little messages. So it was more frequent contact than what I would have made before COVID, if that makes sense.
Yeah, see.
So I think it's just trying to stay social, but less organized.
I guess everybody's just kind of playing it by ear and taking it day by day. I think that's kind of best coping strategy for a lot of people just now. But so for somebody who's never been to a Blackmindsmatter, even though it's kind of remote at the moment, or when things do start to kind of maybe after this lockdown goes, what would you say that the best thing that people can get out of attending?
I think it's really good in terms of the discussions that you have. Because like we speak about topics that are usually like brushed under the carpet, or everyone's thinking it but no one wants to say it. Mm-hmm. So I think the discussions are really good. When I've been to like the training sessions, I've enjoyed them because I've learned new things, and just even hearing people and their testimonies and their background is usually quite inspiring as well. And I'd also say, I said the top thing that I like is the performances. So the spoken word, the rap, the dances, all of that kind of creativity. I really like it about them as well.
Yeah, definitely. We're looking forward to doing that again, and hopefully the events will start happening again as well, but we'll see how it goes. So in terms of obviously as well being a female, it's something that's obviously big with our community as well is hair and stuff. So I don't know if you're one of those girls who likes to go to the salon or like how you kind of like managing with your kind of like hair regime and stuff like that as well, because been speaking to some other girls and they're used to going to the salon and doing that, and they're now having to discover new ways of like how to deal with their own hair and things like that. So do you have a story behind yours?
I think with me, I'm a bit fortunate in the sense that I have natural hair and I just do really low maintenance styles. So since lockdown, it's just moisture for me because I'm not coming out. So, and also I have a thing where I like to buy in bulk. I used to have a subscription with, I don't know if you ever heard of the Treasure Chest.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I used to
boxes.
get boxes from them and I'd get loads of things and I never use it in time. So I've still got my basics, and so it's just like, you know, buns or cane rolls, just something simple but still looks presentable online. So my main thing is moisture. But speaking to my friends, they're telling me about going to the local, beauty supply stores and having to do like a little backdoor method where you see people going in the shop under the shutter or whatever. So I'm glad I'm not experiencing that. I'm fine over here.
I think that this is actually one of the things is where if you're a natural hair girl during this lockdown, you're like, it's business as usual. But if you're one of those girls who wore weave and maybe had to go to the salon, you're kind of having to discover new things about how to kind of look after your hair and stuff. So there may be a little bit of backdoor business, as you said. Or a lot of girls are actually now discovering, hang on, actually, now that I've done this, I'm giving my hair a bit of a breather. I'm massaging it and I'm deep conditioning it, as you said, moisturizing it as well, which is really important. I think especially if we're all staying indoors as well. I think moisture, because you're under a lot of electrical and stuff. So let your hair breathe and get out there as well during your little bit of exercise, fresh air that you can actually have.
Well, just for the record, I ain't had a trim for 7 weeks, so that's anything to go by, basically. I can understand. But sounds all good, man. So, I mean, like, based on this whole lockdown thing and everything, has your perspective changed on anything since you started seeing what's been happening throughout the world and stuff? Has your perspective changed on anything?
I don't know if it's changed, but I'd say, like, I've been a bit more enlightened and I'm a lot more curious or skeptical, so I'm asking a lot more questions because even out of frustration, I was like, I don't even know how this whole virus started anymore because there's so many different like speculations or conspiracy theories plus what the news is telling us. So I think it's making me question things a lot more and like read into things.
Same.
And I think also it showed me how things that we sometimes take for granted can easily be taken away from us. And at the same time showing us that there's different ways of doing things. So as an example, being at home, working Monday to Friday and not leaving my room. So going forward, I might just have to say this to my manager, like, I don't want to do the 40-minute commute. I want to stay home and work from home. But it's just showing me like there are ways around things, and what you would class as normal in your life can be taken away with like a day.
I mean, as well, and you're kind of one of those people as well who's during this whole thing, a lot of people are being laid off or people don't know if they're going to have a job to go back to. But during this, you know, the health sector is obviously very much the forefront. How do you feel about being able to still have work? And have you heard, and it is like the whole healthcare kind of system, do you feel it's working well, or do you think that it's revealed to you other areas as well that you think could need improvement?
I think, like, you know, being able to have a job within the field, I'm very fortunate. Like, that's a big blessing within itself, because I actually went for the interview just before the lockdown, because I even had a couple of other interviews via Zoom. So I'm very glad that I was able to secure a job in the midst of all this craziness. But in terms of the health sector, Because I was having this conversation with my partner the other day. I was like, before Brexit and all of that, there's like, oh, we're getting rid of the NHS and all these campaigns to save our NHS. And now the big emphasis is on NHS. You've got people who are clapping at 8 o'clock to congratulate NHS staff. So it's like, did you not see the importance of the NHS before all of this? But in terms of if it's all working, I think some aspects are working. But in terms of the virus and, just trying to, kind of put an end to it, there's still a lot more they could do.
In terms of finding out about the latest developments and stuff, do you have like a source where you kind of go to, or how do you kind of keep abreast of what's happening personally and with your work?
It depends on my mood. So for one, I definitely don't watch the news. Because like since before COVID, I always saw the news as negativity. But if I need the information, I'll go online and I'll read. But now that within this role, we get bulletins and, updates. So I get via email what I need to know. Basically, the information is out there if you need it, but I don't purposely go searching for it.
Okay, cool.
So, and the last final question. After all this is hopefully over and we'll go back to a bit of normality, what would you like to see change? If you had one wish, what would you like to see change for the better after all this?
Maybe the way mental health and well-being is implemented, because during this, and especially working as a social prescriber, when we have these things that we call well-being checks, so we'll call the patients to see how they're doing and how they're getting on. I think maybe if we're able to implement that into normal everyday life anyway, so they know that this pandemic is affecting people mentally and physically, but it has a big impact on our mental health. I think going forward, if we could keep that same emphasis just to make sure everyone's mental health is okay and checking in on people, I think that would make a big difference.
Absolutely. Thank you very much.
So thank you so much for taking your time out to share everything that's gone on, and all the best moving forward. And so if anybody wants to find out some more details about the services that you offer, a social prescriber or whatever it is that you think would be helpful to them, is there any kind of links that you can share with us?
I could send you emails of the links, but just to be honest, going into Google and putting in social prescribing NHS, and there's a whole page on it with different facts and information, and you probably even see job opportunities as well, because there's a lot of them popping up now. Okay. Because it's like a new government initiative, I think, to have so many social prescribers in areas.
Same.
Okay, excellent. All right, so thank you so much again. All the best moving forward, and be safe and be well.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Take care.
Have a good day.
Take care. Bye.
Okay, so that was Okema. Thank you so much for all the advice and everything that you left. So we'll drop that information down below, because it looks like there's opportunities in that sector for work, and there's also services that's on offer if you feel that you need some help and some advice. All right, so if you want to leave any feedback, tips or suggestions, then please leave a comment down below. Alternatively, if you want to contact us, you want to be part of the show, or you want to ask us any more questions, then you can please contact us on info@blackmindsmatter.co.uk. Also, you can go and check out the website. There's video content. You can sign up to the newsletter, and there's various other resources on there. The website is www.blackmindsmatter.co.uk. And if you want to find out the latest government and healthcare guidelines, the most recent up-to-date services will be on www.gov.uk or www.wandsworth.gov.uk. Thank you so much. Please like, share and subscribe. Share it with someone that you think will benefit from this as well. And we will catch you guys on the next podcast. Be safe, be well, take care of yourselves. You're listening to the Black Minds Matters podcast in association with WCEN.